Okay, I'm going to start.
Okay.
Shit.
Sunday. I wonder if anyone caught that. Welcome to another episode of True Story Live. We're glad that you're here. It is Sunday the 24th. I think this will be the last Sunday in January, and then we're on to the next month. Already flying by, it seems like this year, 2021, and I hope everyone is having a good start to your year. I will have Jen welcome everyone that's in the chat already, but first we'll introduce, for those who haven't heard the broadcast before that's maybe listening, we'll introduce ourselves, starting with my lovely and courageous, beautiful wife, Jen.
Hey, you're always so sweet. Good to see you guys. Good to be here. I'm incredibly excited about talking about this particular topic. I know there's a lot of people that have dealt with this particular thing, or I've known somebody that has. So I'm excited about chatting about it. And it's I'll say a precursory. We are not psychologists.
Right.
A lot of this we're coming from a perspective of things that we've experienced and what we've learned, but we're not able to diagnose people.
Right. No,
and we're not posing as doctors. We're definitely just, this is a discussion.
Yeah, we have real hands-on experience. I have some, not training, but education. I may have talked about this before, but I was going to go on and get my master's in psychology. So I've got a bachelor's in psychology and sociology. But that in no way means that I can diagnose anyone. None of us can. So that's good. I'm glad they brought that up. On a separate subject, while you were talking, I remember that one time on the broadcast that I forgot to introduce you. This was early on. Do you remember that at all? It happened just the one time, but I was so embarrassed that it was when we had a larger panel. That's no excuse.
Okay.
That's no excuse, but
No.
I don't remember how it worked out, but that's what happened.
Yeah, no. Well, wait, what happened again? I'm trying to remember.
I forgot to introduce you.
Oh, I do remember that.
On the broadcast.
That's a wound that still bleeds.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
I'm so glad I brought that up. That was worth it.
I was like, dang.
Yeah. Wow. This isn't starting out very good. I think we were in friend zone at that point, if I remember correctly, but I don't know that for sure. Well, welcome, Jen. We're glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here. And
also, we have our friend from Australia and much, much more, and also our producer of the broadcast tonight, Glenn. Glenn, say hello to the peoples.
Hi, guys, everyone. Oh, am I allowed to say guys? Is that a multi-sexual or whatever they call it?
I say, yeah.
I say guys all the time.
I say guys. Girls and guys, it's all the same, but I say guys. That they do that up north where I'm from, so I have to explain it to people sometimes. But yeah,
use guys.
No. We don't say that.
I know you don't like that. Like, no, stop it.
No, I don't like that. You guys.
Use guys.
Yeah, no, that's not for me.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So now that we have the introductions out of the way, tonight's topic is narcissism, and the title, How Do You Sleep at Night? And we'll get to that in just a minute. But before we do, let's say hello to everyone in the chat, Jen, that we have so far.
Hello, chat. I'm just kidding. I'll do it. Okay, we've got Celine, we've got Liam, we've got Jalen, we have Miss Stephanie, Fisherman in a Box, Lon, Link. And it's not Linky, it's Link. I found that out on his channel.
Okay.
Chow Yun Cat, hey, how you doing? We got Glenn in the chat, Jason in the chat.
Yeah.
Did I say hi to Jalen?
I think so, but
okay, well, I'll just say hey to her twice because she's awesome. Yeah. And that's it for right now.
Okay, great. Yeah. And more people may come in, but we're happy that everyone's here. And Lon, I'm glad to see you. I know you after the fact, when you have come in late, you always put a comment on the video, and that's totally fine. Like I've talked before about how you start so early. I'm very rarely up that early, so I have to watch it after the
Yeah.
fact. But I think one morning I actually was there when you were. I don't remember why I was up that early, but
I think it might have been for work, for
it
training.
might have been for my training. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Okay, with all that out of the way, we're going to get right into it. This is we've got our disclaimer out of the way, and this is a topic that we're very interested in talking about, and it's also a request from one of our viewers. We're excited to discuss this tonight. So, narcissism. How do you sleep at night? So we gather the feel of tonight's write-up from the song "How Do You Sleep" by the Chicks, formerly the Dixie Chicks, but I've just been informed that they changed the name to just the Chicks. Not sure why, but a fantastic song and one that hits close to home to Jen. And the link is in the description. Definitely, when you get a chance, give it a listen. So for the past three broadcasts, we've tackled the subjects of autonomy, dependence, and validation. Tonight, we try to tie them all in with the crowning jewel of personal dysfunction and the direct cause of much unease in many relationships in the world today, which is narcissism. Narcissism is a pretty vast topic, which we could take years to cover and unpack, with many categories and subcategories that go on forever. We'll be discussing narcissism in some general terms, and we encourage you to allow this to be a cursory definition of it, which gives you a taste, and you can start your journey in understanding its complexities on your own. Narcissism isn't just about someone who gets stuck in front of a mirror, gazing at their own beauty or power, like the myth of Narcissus, gazing at his reflection in the pool of still water. It's much more than that. Narcissism is a person who doesn't just think they are better or higher than someone else. It's that they think there is no one else. It's a personality disorder that makes a person a full-time taker because they don't care about or see other people's needs, only their own. It's a person who feels they are a victim, that nothing that goes wrong in their life is due to who they are, what they've done or said. It's a life where they are always the hero or victim, never the villain. Usually in a relationship with a narcissist, the other person is codependent. Narcissists are born takers. Codependents are born givers. Do you see where this relationship is born out of a need for each other? A narcissist, in their own world of deep insecurity, guilt, and shame, need people around them that give and give in order to prop up their false sense of identity and worth. A codependent, in their deep insecurity, guilt, and shame, need people around them that need them, which gives them the sense of identity as well as self-worth. But these are both false self-worth and false identities. A person isn't the sum of all who need them. A person isn't the sum of all who give to them. A person's identity lies in who they are as an individual, not what they need from others. For a believer, hopefully we believe that who we are is cultivated and made whole by God and flourishes within our relationship with ourselves and Him. For a non-believer, hopefully who we are is cultivated within ourselves. How is narcissism tied to the things we've talked about during the last three shows? With autonomy, one cannot be with a narcissist and have autonomy. Why? Because the narcissist wants to tell you who you are. They don't want you having an identity outside of them. You are an extension of them. Actually, having autonomy is narcissistic repellent or a quick escape tool. If you're in a narc relationship, find your autonomy and watch as these people quickly discard you. With dependence, if you are a codependent, you've been systematically taught that you are responsible for other people, for their feelings, their actions, and the things that go wrong in their lives. This leaves very little room for you to think about yourself. It's more than a full-time job. And when you are dependent on the opinions of others to define you instead of finding your identity within yourself, and for a believer in God, it is a dinner bell to the narcissist monster. They want to find people who have no clue who they are and are waiting around for someone to tell them. A narc will exploit this part of you. With validation, a narcissist will refuse to validate you, acknowledge you, see you, hear you. And through this kind of neglect, they will subconsciously and consciously convince you that you are worthless. Because if you had worth, wouldn't they see you? Wouldn't they love you? Wouldn't they hold you when you cry or encourage you when you've accomplished something in your life? Wouldn't they want the best for you? Wouldn't they be just as interested in your needs as they are their own? So there we have it.
All right.
All right. That's a great write up. And this one was written by Jen. I've added a couple things as usual. And it was actually my turn, but this is a subject that is very close to Jen's heart as well as mine. And we have lots of personal experiences, which we will definitely dive into. And as always, guys, in the chat, feel free to ask questions, or as you usually do. This is not really even something I have to remind anyone about, but share your own personal experiences, things that you've been through. And if you want us to read something, I read stuff anyway, but if you want us to read something for sure, address it to me and put it in all caps. And we are monitoring the chat, so we should be able to see it.
Awesome.
So 2 more people popped in while we're doing the reading the write-up. Brother Dave, good evening to you, sir. Welcome. And also Annette Sandrock is here. So
Hey, Annette.
welcome, Annette. Now, I just want to ask quickly for prayer for Annette. She's had a loss. I hope she doesn't mind me sharing this, but she's had a loss close to her in the family, and that's all the details I'll give on that. Unless she wants to share more in the chat, that'd be up to her. But please pray for her and her family. That'd be great. And also, Gia just popped in too, so that's perfect. Yeah. That's great.
Hey, guys.
Okay, so getting right to it, guys, because this is like we said in the write-up, this is a topic that it's really complex. The categories and subcategories go on forever. And if you are interested in learning more about this, aside from what we talk about this evening, there are many, many, many resources. This is a problem in the world that seems to be getting worse right now. More and more people seem to be recognizing that they're in a relationship with someone with this personality disorder, and a lot of people are getting help. So after we've discussed it, if anything rings true for you, if you're ever interested in having some resources that Jen and I know are helpful in some ways, then you can reach out to us by email. We'll be happy to share links and channels and things like that if you're interested in that. Alrighty. All right, Jen. So are you laughing because you know I'm going to ask you where you want to start?
Yeah, you go.
There you go.
Dang it. I should have come with more questions, but
no, that's okay. We can come up with questions. We generally use that pattern for the shows to have questions to ask and things like that. But as Glenn said before the show, this is I'm not using his exact words, but it's more what word did you use, Glenn?
discussion, I think.
Yeah, it's
more of a discussion.
Or discussion based. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, maybe we could dive in with the one question that I had about how is narcissism tied to the things that we've talked about during the last 3 shows. We could do that.
Sure. Before we do that, the first question I actually see that you ask is, narcissists are born takers, codependents are born givers. Do you see where this relationship is born out of a need for each other? I think that's worth delving into a little bit.
Yeah.
Is that, am I missed? Is that the first?
No, I think that's the first one.
I think that's true. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. So we kind of went over some of the basic definitions and explained, what kind of relationships call for this narcissism to grow and be a thing in relationships. Of course, it's not always a codependent necessarily.
You could be an empath.
Yeah.
Which A lot of times those go hand in hand, but
They
um,
do. They do. A narcissist will basically choose someone that they know they can get supply from that will uh, either lift them up with their comments and with their actions and kind of serve them, or by not saying good things about themselves, but bringing the other person down, which makes them look better. We were talking.
yeah. And I guess supply could be both. Could be bring out someone else down so that you feel higher, or it could be getting flattery,
Oh yeah,
right?
I think there's any number of sources for a narcissist, and it depends on the particular narcissist as to what they get supply from.
Yeah, those subcategories.
Yeah, I don't think it's a one size fits all kind of situation, though.
Yeah.
But the important thing that's stated in that sense is born out of a need for each other. So, uh, in the case that there's a narcissist and a codependent, and I think Jen did a good job of describing that, out of their insecurity and deep need, one of them needs people to give and give, and the other needs what is it? Needs people around them that need them. Yeah, they need to be
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah, need to be needed. And I had an inkling that I was a codependent, but when I read the book The Human Magnet Syndrome, which goes into length about the relationship between narcissists and codependents or empaths, it jumped off the page. I had no idea. It makes so much sense, when you've got someone that's a born taker and someone that's a born giver. And I've learned over the years how much my identity and self worth was based and rooted in people needing me, like being needed and being there for people. And not that that's a bad thing,
Mhm.
but when the scale tips and you're overly concerned and like hyper vigilant about other people's needs and wanting to be a rescuer or a savior, or
Sure.
it can tip the scales. And then unfortunately these people with this personality disorder, they're attracted to that. They can sense it. And I keep forgetting the term, and I think we've touched on this before in the past shows, but how narcissists, they're empaths in a way. It's not so much that they can read people's feelings in order to feel what they're feeling, it's they can read people's feelings in order to exploit.
Yeah, it's an emotional intelligence
There
of
you go. Yeah, that's the term.
yeah, and some narcissists may know that they have that capability. Other ones it's just like so natural to them. They're able to somehow pick up on people that they know are going to be good to work their dark magic.
Yeah. They also make really good salespeople, and that's why they
Oh,
can read people really well.
yeah, because some of them. Okay, now I agree with Jen's definition. They have deep need and guilt and shame. Okay, but they may come across as being someone that has a really healthy self-esteem. They may come
Hmm.
across like that.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of times for the victim in the relationship, the codependent or whatever they may be, it's made a pretty difficult situation to go through because other people that see the narcissist may think he's a great guy. He or she
Hmm.
is a great person.
Yeah.
They may even another term. We'll probably mention a lot of terms, and all these terms, if we need to describe it more, we'll be happy to go into it. But there's a term that's widely used for that, which is flying monkeys, and I think it's so descriptive because you get an idea. I'm sure everyone has seen the movie Wizard of Oz, and in that movie, the witch uses these literal flying monkeys that go and do her bidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's similar to this with a narcissist. He will have people around he or she. I keep saying he. Just so everyone knows, it's generally males. It's not always males, but statistically speaking, it's usually guys that are into this.
Yeah. But it can be girls.
It can be girls, yes. So they will have people surrounding them to do their bidding, and they'll send people out to check on the other person if they're not in the relationship anymore, or spread lies or rumors or any number of things.
Yeah.
Have them try to talk to. I'm doing air quotations. No one can see. Talk to them about, you really left a good guy here or you left a good girl here. What are you doing? Are you crazy? And it just complicates the situation. It really does. But
Yeah.
and
And it really, for someone who's been abused in this way emotionally, you're systematically you're being able to trust yourself and rely on even your reality and your thoughts is broken down. So when these flying monkeys come around and gaslight you, it's to further the abuse. It's to further you questioning yourself, and
sure,
keeping you on very shaky ground with yourself, which you already are on from being in the abuse.
yeah.
So it's very disconcerting.
Gia Loves Jesus made a comment, and I would agree with Glenn that it's interesting. She says a narcissist needs a crowd, not just one codependent. That's dysfunctional. Yeah. As I mentioned, they may come across as having a real high self-esteem. A lot of times they're in leadership positions. They can be bosses. We've mentioned before that a lot of pastors are narcissists, and they are in the perfect place because they have a whole congregation of possible supply of people that are walking up to them after the sermon, telling them what a great sermon. And I'm not saying all pastors are narcissists. I'm not saying that.
Nope.
But there was a study done about this, about the uh, the field of being a pastor, how many narcissists are drawn to that for that very reason.
Yeah.
So, like Gia is saying, it's not just one person; it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
And yeah.
one more thing, I've personally witnessed this. I've been in a few different churches in my life, and looking back now, um, I've had a couple of pastors that I classify as definitely narcissist, and one youth pastor that was the son of the pastor, and that I know for darn sure that he's one. I have some stories about that. This guy cut my hair. He was playing around with a pair of scissors, and he thought it'd be funny to trim off some of my hair. I guess he thought it was too long. It was the 70s at the
What
time.
the heck?
So the back of my hair at that time was a little bit longer. He just decided he's going to cut some of my hair off. And I was appalled, and he just laughed and thought it was the funniest thing.
Oh,
That's just one
jeez.
story from this guy. He did all kinds of stuff.
We both have stories of dysfunctional people cutting our hair.
Yeah, it's interesting. That particular guy friended me on Facebook a couple years ago. I hadn't seen him in 40 years, or thought about him or heard him, but somehow he found me on Facebook and he friended me. And
Delete.
no, I didn't. I was
Oh.
interested to see. I wondered if he would remember any of it and would apologize. He didn't apologize, but he really came across as being a different sort of person. I don't know that for sure, but we chatted a few times about the old days and things like that. And I didn't bring any of it up. Nothing ever came of it.
Yeah.
But it's just an interesting thing.
One thing I was going to say about churches, because it's us as humans, we're created to worship, and we're created, I believe, to worship God, but we have that in us, that created to worship, and sometimes we, with our flesh and sin, we decide to worship other people or things
Sure.
instead of God. And you see sometimes where in a church congregation, the pastor or someone who's leading is put on a pedestal, which they shouldn't be, being put on a pedestal. But I think that's why that particular job or position is what is the word I'm looking for? It's what a narcissist could search for because of that makeup,
Yeah.
of people putting them on pedestals.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. They're put on pedestals by other people, and they're just like a pig in the mud. There's a better term for it, which I won't say on the air, but it's a pig that's happy,
Yes.
and narcissist is happy on that pedestal that they're put on, and they don't want to be knocked off the pedestal. That's one of the fears of the narcissist is them being discovered.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll do anything they can do to keep that from happening.
Yeah.
So Glenn asked Stephanie a question in the chat. Stephanie said, I am a need to be needed person. Stephanie, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being
Yeah.
so transparent. That's why we're here, hopefully to be able to give you a place to be able to give everyone a place to be able to share and have some support.
Yeah.
We have a great chat. The people in the chat are so supportive, so we appreciate you guys too.
Yeah.
And she says, I am just not good at being alone. I need someone who needs me. However, I am learning that my children and dog do need me. So I don't need another human to fill that need.
Yeah.
That's great.
What?
Oh, no, that's okay. Gia says, one person can never fulfill the insatiable desire of the narcissist for attention. Prince had an entire entourage, LOL.
That's a good one, Gia.
That is a good one.
You know, I think the need to be needed, it can be very insidious because I never saw it growing up as a bad thing. I think I even had some pride issues with it because I think, we can get, I know for me, I think I got a high a little bit off of being needed by people and also being a yes person, being a people pleaser. And I kind of learned that through my family of origin. Being a rescuer, being responsible for other people. When I was never taught that. Of course, I'm not.
Right.
But that feeling of being needed and then coming through for people, I think it's something that's in us that's natural, and it's not in itself a bad thing. But it can definitely turn into something that's in a way self-destructive. I mean, if you ignore yourself completely and everybody else comes before you all the time,
Yeah.
it can be very destructive, especially in the sense of attracting a narcissist and then they exploit it. It's just yikes because from where they're coming from, their guilt and shame and their self-hate that they live in, they're a bottomless pit. You
Yeah.
keep giving and giving, and with them, with the majority of people with narcissistic personality disorder, they it's like the goalposts move. They're always needing more and more and more. It's never like a status quo. It's like you're like, oh well, they need this, and so we'll get to this level and it'll be good.
Hmm.
And then it's not. you're,
Yeah.
you're constantly chasing after this goalpost of their needs, and all the while yours are getting shrunk more and more and more till
Right.
there's nothing, till you're not getting anything and you're just slowly giving. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, Jen. That is awesome. All right. So on this particular question, it's just kind of setting up the idea of how the relationship works as far as each of them getting something out of it. And a narcissist gets something out of it, and the victim gets something out of it too. If they never come out of that, if they don't ever realize that it's a toxic, destructive, dysfunctional relationship. Many people go on for a long time in that, and some people don't seem to ever get out of it. Other people get out of it, and if they don't do the work necessary to realize what their issues are, why you want to mute, Glenn? You're coming over on air. Just not to call attention to it, but is that coming over?
yeah, I can hear it.
Okay. I don't know if we can just hear it. Anyway. Okay. So, so if they don't realize that that they need some work, and they end up getting into the similar relationship over and over and over again, and we've seen this happen. So it's important to realize that that you obviously did get something out of the relationship, or you didn't feel like you were worth having a healthy relationship in some way, and it may vary from person to person as to the reasons why. But in order to stop the trend, to stop the pattern, there would definitely needs to be some discovery. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn. Sorry about that. I really like this quote at the bottom, that they're always the hero or the victim, never the villain. Isn't that
Yeah.
true?
Yes.